All right, welcome to group 1 of 3 of the workshop on sharing my ideas about emotional causes of illness, emotional connection and health. I'm going to share what I've learned so far from my own experience as a naturopathic doctor in helping patients work with the emotional causes of illness while continuing to use all the medical tests and medicine and intervention available. So we'll start with my favorite quotes that I'm using as a framework to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. And to give a bit of a background, I have had health problem my whole life. I've been sick as a child and just been sick after sick after sick from one health reason or another. And up to about, say, 3 days ago, I was always in chronic pain. My chronic pain just released 3 days ago because of all the emotional work I did, which then attracted the tools I needed to help me slowly start to get better. So it's been a lifelong journey of figuring out why I'm sick. And fortunately, I also love medicine just for its own sake. So it became a really good combination. And when I became a naturopathic doctor in 2010, my intense passion was to identify the true cause of illness. And then in naturopathic school, we learn about lifestyle, about food sensitivity, about stress. And those answers were not satisfactory for me because I would think, well, you didn't have food sensitivity when you were young. Why would you have it now? It doesn't explain to me that your wheat and gluten allergy is the cause. It's a connection, it's an aggravator, but it's not the cause. Something about it is just not adding up to me. And then in 2014, I had a series of emotional events. One thing led to another, and I came across a iBook search based by Divine Truth by Mary and Jesus. And from the very first lecture transcript I read, it was right there: your health, your illnesses are caused by suppressed emotion, period. And that was it, got my attention. And also that emotion, suppressed emotion, are passed on to your children, and it caused them health problems and other problems as well. And that was it. I started to investigate that from 2014 onward. And I'm still very, very early in my investigation. Um, I'm only sharing whatever I have been discovering as a doctor in the beginning stages of discovering addictions and all of those connections. So it's very, very early work. Maybe 20, 30 years from now, I'll have something more substantial to say. But for now, when you're just beginning to investigate and discover, there are a lot of things that can help you in your investigation. So I just want to share what I've learned so far. And the quote I'm referring to is this. This is, if you go to the Divine Truth website, there is, if you go to downloads on the left, if you click on it, if you go to the year 2016, there is a whole series of Understanding God's Loving Laws series. And on the 5th of November, there is, in one of the lecture, here's what it says. If I am ill, the truth principle in the law of compensation, the law of cause and effect, and the law of attraction work together to expose that I'm attempting to emotionally deny a truth about love. Could be love of self, love of your soulmate, love of others, or the environment. That is the gem. That is like, that's it. The Holy Grail is right there. It may take me hundreds of years to understand how this whole thing works. But I've decided to dedicate the rest of my medical practice in investigating these principles. And if you go to the website, to all of those November, December series, there is a talk on what's law of compensation, law of cause and effect, law of attraction. Actually, no, you have to go to the earlier talk, don't you? 2000, 2009, 2008, 2010. You can go to the separate talks that explain how those laws work by individually. So for me, I look at a law of attraction piece of the illness issues I can't break it down yet to all of the three, but this is my intention is to share what I've learned so far. And so if you're investigating the emotional connection to illness, which I believe until you release the suppressed emotion, you can't be well, it's not over, it's not gone. While you're investigating it, it takes time and it takes a lot of work to work through the issues. So I highly encourage people to continue with their medical visits, continue with lab works, continue investigating, do the medical intervention, do the alternative intervention, give yourself the time and support you need. And as you become more emotionally sensitive, then yes, you can start making some choices about not taking some harsh treatments, especially if you're working with a practitioner who can help you sort that out. For myself, I may take some treatments. When my life starts to get in a bit of a danger, I will start to put some intervention in to buy myself time without taking away the experience of the illness, because I need to feel the pain, I need to feel the discomfort, I need to feel them in order to go into the emotion. So that's generally what a good practitioner can do for you. So I highly recommend people to work with a good medical team. We have very good medical systems, very good medical interventions, labs, tests. You can get a lot of information. Do utilize the support available, because God does intend for you to be supported while you're recovering from your health issues. That's my personal opinion. So to start with, for today, I would like to start the discussion on discussing the healthcare system and our definition of illness and health as it is right now. And when I speak of illness, I'm also speaking of our children's health, because most of, in my belief, all of our children's health issues, we've got something to do with it. And when it's 0 to 7 children, it's all you. It's all to the point where if parents call me to treat their children, I say, leave the children at home, you come in. I'm just going to treat you, your kid's going to get better. But I do that also with adult children. It always works. And I'm also including accidents. If you get accidents and you get a physical injury of some kind, the same law applies. The same situation applies. And we can get a lot of information based on where your injury is, the kind of injury you get, which side of the body it is. You can kind of start to guess what issue you're denying. So take a breather. What are our current beliefs? So say you get sick. What are some of the things you've learned about sickness? Who wants to go? Selena?
I did it. That I'm weak.
Yes, if you're sick, you're weak. Who has believed that? Who's been told that or feel that about themselves? Yeah, okay. If you're sick, you're weak. What else? Michaela?
That it's based on your physical environment, and you're sick because of your physical environment.
Yeah, okay. Can you give an example? Like it's like allergies or mold or weather? Is that what you mean?
Or even at the moment, I'm waking up with a sore back again and I just want to blame it on the bed.
Yeah, that's right. Good one, thank you. Kathy C? Oh, you mute, Kathy.
I keep moving. my picture keeps moving. Well, like it's a virus or a bacteria. I've caught it from someone.
Yeah. Okay.
And also maybe and another side of that would be a DNA, a biological.
That's right. Very good. Yes, that's right. Inherited diseases. Heather? Oh.
You know, it feels a lot to me like it just happened without any explanation. Like it was bad luck. There was nothing you could do. this is just what happened and there's no real cause for it. It's just, oh, well, now you have it, you have to deal with it, but there was no real cause.
That's right.
Just appeared.
That's right. Idiopathic. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Casey?
Kind of bridging off of Kathy C.
Yeah.
I was run down, so I wasn't
Oh,
taking
yes.
care of myself enough, and therefore I caught it from somebody else.
Yes, that's right. My immune system had come down. That's right. Laura?
Yeah, there's also a pretty strong belief about age and degeneration. So like degenerative discs, or, you know, I'm old, so that's why I'm sick, and that kind of thing as well.
That's right. Good one. Thank you. Kathy S.
So it's someone else's responsibility to help me get better.
Yes.
I have to seek out people that, I mean, obviously there are different styles of medicine, but, you know, initially we go with the quick fix. We want the quick pill that's just going to help, you know, relieve the pain.
Perfect. I definitely want to go into that quick fix discussion. Thank you. Kathy C.
I was thinking, unhealthy lifestyle, what we eat, how we exercise. And I was also thinking that I kind of grew up with this thought that it is around emotion, but it's not, it's around bad emotions, like bad thoughts, unhappiness, stress, anger that isn't expressed.
That you make yourself sick by having angry thoughts.
Yeah.
That's like a blame. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe even a bad intention towards someone else that kind of comes back on you. So you're going to get sick as a result of that.
Okay, thank you. And I think Hardeep had shared that sickness will make you stronger and build your immunity to it. So sickness is good for you. Yeah, that's another belief we've had. And how were you told to deal with your sickness? Kathy has mentioned you got to go find somebody to make it go away. What did you learn to do about your sickness, your illness, your feeling unwell, your injuries? Laura?
Yeah, I've learned that I can't get better on my own, so I have to go seek help from someone, whether it's a chiro or you know, acupuncture, whoever it is. It's like I don't have the capacity to deal with it on my own.
Yeah, very disempowering. Okay. Somebody else has the answer. That's right.
It's kind of like head straight for the over-the-counter medicine. Like that's the first line of defense.
Yeah. Find the drug. Find the medicine right away.
Where's my pill?
Where's my pill? Casey?
For me, I was never textbook illnesses. So it was, you're just going to have to live with this. You're just going to have to figure out how to deal with your pain and your illness and still go to work and still go to school and live your life.
Yeah, live with it, endure it. Tough it out. Yeah. And then Hardeep is saying that we're not allowed to be sick. I think I took the quota for that in the family, Hardeep. Michaela?
Yeah, just to stay strong and to get over it as quickly as you can and to not surrender to the experience.
It's a sign of weakness that you're still sick and you haven't kind of got over it in 4 days and stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. Stay strong and just get better quick. Okay. Other ideas? What you were told to do with it? Grace? Was it you? No, sorry. I kind of saw ahead. So Hardeep's mentioning being compared to others. We were assessed based on how much sicker we are compared to other people's children, to all other people around us. So your worth was based on how much healthier or sicker you are compared to others. So that's something that happens. And Grace?
Sorry, it's having trouble there. Kind of similar vein as yours, but like I was never allowed to show sickness or injury.
Ah,
It wasn't even like I could acknowledge it. It was something I had to just like endure quietly by myself. Hopefully it goes away quick and don't bother anybody else with my problems or yeah.
so you're a burden. It's a burden. Your sickness is a
burden,
burden on
yeah.
others.
Yeah.
Kathy, yes?
Growing up, when my mum was, had chronic illness,
Yeah.
I had this notion that if I behaved really good and I did everything, housework, cooked, she would get better. There was this connection in my mind that I felt a responsibility that was causing her, because she had 5 kids and she'd run down, right? So this
Yeah.
asthma thing was an emotional kind of an illness. So I thought, well, if I'm really a good girl, she will get better. And I really believed that. I was like 7 or 8 years old.
Wow. Okay.
So the harder I worked, she would get out of bed eventually. This would be a miracle, but I tried.
And you'll get love again.
You get loved again,
Yeah.
and some attention.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we feel if somebody gets sick, somebody else is to blame,
Yeah.
basically.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Casey.
Also, when I was really little, that was when we would actually receive love from our parents.
Yes. That's
Like
right.
we'd get more attention, we'd get more care, there'd be more cuddles.
Yeah.
We'd be noticed.
Yeah. And it's the only time when you get less projection or less abuse or less rage and less neediness, and yeah. Okay. But then sometimes you will blame that you're sick because you're looking for attention.
That was when we got older.
Yeah.
We're up a bit first.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, thank you. Laura?
Yeah, I think something similar to the last comment, actually. I think I kind of used sickness as a way to just get a break,
Yeah.
like have a break from being attacked or having expectations put on me. And so I've developed like a pretty negative pattern over my life of that being my way of just getting time for myself.
But then, hold up. When you're getting targeted all the time, won't your body break down anyway? From the constant of the emotional projections, like that is going to destroy your body.
And because you didn't have like the knowledge of if you feel it, you don't, you get better. I had a pretty strong like tendency to want to suppress my emotions, so they get even more sick.
Well, but then if you grew up in a home where you were not allowed to express your emotion and therefore now you get sick from it, how are you going to suddenly go, well, I don't want to feel my emotions, so I got sick, when it's already established? It's not a choice. I see how you're blaming yourself for. Well, I'm like, no, by the time you were 5, that was already well established without your option. It wasn't your choice. Your body has to break down and then recuperate. Yeah. Okay, wow, we've got some good gems here. And so what have we, Mirbad, are you raising your hand or yes?
Yeah, actually I'm driving. I'm sorry, I can't use the Zoom
That's right.
very well. Yeah, so I have a quick comment about last section.
Sure.
In Western medicine, allopathic medicine it's always to find something extrinsic, something, some outside factor. It's either your parents, genes, or parasites, something outside of your body.
Yeah.
And I used to think like this since my mind was actually set that way while I was practicing Western medicine. When I've been introduced to the holistic and try to keep peace with myself and find the peace within myself, I find that right now I see actually the all the problems. I seek all the problems and all the illnesses that I could get like from within myself, and I try to find like innate and intrinsic remedy for that. And you know, the most important thing that I've noticed and I've learned is try not to judge myself and try not to like be and try to embrace and like find my
Sorry, Mirbad, you're cutting out a little bit.
supposed to do.
Okay, you're cutting out a little bit, Mirbad.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And by the way, the conversation you're talking about, we're going to have in the next 2 sessions. Yeah, that's the, like for today, I just want to talk about what we learned as children about illness. And then the second and third session, we'll talk about the stuff you're bringing up right now. Thank you.
Sorry for that. Sorry for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'll turn off my microphone.
Thank you. And yeah, you're cutting out a little bit too. Okay, so what did we learn about the medical field as children? And what do the common society feel the medical system's job is? Laura.
I learned that the doctors can't feel me.
Yes.
One observation that I felt and I noticed as a kid, as a small kid, I'm like, you can't even feel what's going on inside of me. And I felt like you should be able to.
Yeah, okay, right. Okay.
So yeah, it seems like they're just guessing.
Yes, you could see the doctors were guessing. But what did we learn doctors should be doing? So you learned that doctors should know what I'm feeling, what's really going on, right? Yeah. Okay, Heather.
Whatever they said was the ultimate answer.
Yeah.
And I just had to get in step with that. There was nowhere else to look. That was my ultimate authority.
Yeah. The doctors are the authority. They have the answer. And it's my job to come along with what they're saying. Okay. That's.
Yeah. And no questions asked. Just
question
maybe them. Clarifying, but no doubt about it.
Yeah. Okay. That's what we learned. Selena?
I learned that ultimately you had to have pieces cut out of you.
Remove something.
You had to remove something, and that was the only real resolution to problems.
Got it.
You know, getting every kid just about that had a sore throat got their tonsils taken out. I didn't even have a sore throat, and I got my tonsils taken out. So, you know, and my mom, every problem was solved with some removal. You know. Yeah.
You were half right. Yes, you're supposed to remove something, but it's emotions.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Kathy?
Yeah, mine was a little different because my dad really got into holistic health when I was quite young.
Yeah.
And so I actually learned that doctors could not be trusted. But it was odd because generally in society, doctors were God, I'll say.
Yeah.
And so I had to be very careful about who I spoke with about taking vitamins or herbs or an endocrinologist or so even I kind of still carry that a little bit with me now. So yeah, it's been an odd kind of dance around. I'm actually way more confident in doctors now than I was when I was younger. So I've had the flip of that. Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like a battle. It's a struggle to get in there and be able to suggest you want to try something else or you're questioning their diagnosis. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a child. So it wasn't like I had the, you know, we're talking about being a child. So I'm just watching my parents have this feeling where they didn't trust the medical profession.
Okay, so we have this kind of like, we don't really trust, and yet they're supposed to be authority and we're supposed to ask them for what we're supposed to do. Okay, Michaela is, okay, Michaela, are you ready to share now?
Yeah, just Just some signal problems. I learned that the doctor knows you better than you know yourself.
Oh yeah.
And also, yeah. And also that you have to go back regularly. You can't expect them to actually fix you. There might just be a little bit of a softening or lessening of symptoms, but you just have to go back every week or every fortnight for some kind of treatment to get any relief.
Okay, good one. Thank you. Happy, yes.
I've had a similar experience as Kathy C. We were raised a lot with natural medicine, and my grandmother was very into natural remedies and so on. So similar kind of, concern about, well, the doctor's the last resort that we can do to build our immune system, and just, through food, and we did a lot of supplementation and stuff. But we did use chiropractors, osteopaths were a big thing in Australia at the time. Yeah. So that would be our first line of inquiry, would be going to alternate medicine, medical practitioners, and the doctor would be kind of a last resort. Yeah. Unless it was a major thing, like, that required antibiotics. Obviously, my parents weren't completely crazy, but I felt really glad that I was raised with that sort of thinking.
For sure. Thank you. Casey?
When I was really little, it was, I think a couple people have said this already, doctors are all knowing. When you walk in the door, talk about it, they'll know what's going on, they'll be able to fix you.
Okay.
Once I started having fairly severe, well, I shouldn't say severe, they weren't they didn't require surgery, they didn't require any sort of drastic treatment, but they were chronic issues that they couldn't figure out. Okay. Once I started having those issues, it was like, I remember actually feeling as a child, well, there's nothing left, because if doctors can't help
that's right.
You, then what?
Yeah.
And so it just kind of, it was like a deflation sort of thing. Like,
you talk about the hopelessness that you get then. If doctors can't tell you what's going on, then, well, you're done for.
Yeah. Especially when the belief was, those are the people that are supposed to help fix me.
Yes, it's somebody else's job to help fix us. Got it. Thank you. Okay, so that's quite a few. The reason I'm bringing this up is that as you start to investigate the role of emotion and health, you do have to identify, what have you believed about illness? What have you believed about what you're supposed to do when you get sick? What are your emotions and beliefs about doctors and the medical system? And especially if you think about, how do people generally now feel about the medical system? There's blame. They usually go, well, the doctors couldn't fix it, the doctors couldn't find it, the doctor said this, but look at that. Like, if you can see, there's a lot of projection of anger at the medical system for not being able to solve something, which I feel like, my personal opinion is that the medical system got created due to our demands that somebody else should fix it. We have a demand that somebody else should take this away. I have something, somebody make this better, somebody take this away. And so the medical system developed as a reaction, as a response to the demand. And now we're angry that they're not giving us that, or I'm not giving them that. And so now they're angry and blaming. And then they go and find other people going, well, the doctors failed. And it's like, you are the one that gave them to do a job that could have never been done. And as a healthcare practitioner, doctors are tired. We practitioners are exhausted and tired, because this battle we were never going to win. So practitioners are exhausted and burnt out, and we have our hearts in the right places, but I can feel the demands coming at me to make this better, take it away. Why aren't I better yet? You gave me this, well, this didn't work and that didn't work. And I have to feel all those projections and work with the emotions around it, so that I can then respond firmly, going, well, guess the emotion is still there. Not a popular answer. So, but we have to start to think about, what we are projecting at healthcare practitioners, and the anger and the blame we have is because we have a belief. If I'm sick, somebody else out there should know what it is. Somebody out there should make it go away. We got to take responsibility for why we have that belief and how we learned to believe that from our families. So why is it that our parents and generation after generation, there's never been this idea that it could be about emotions? Why do you think that is? And we ourselves have those beliefs until we get really, really stuck and we finally then find somebody or something. Even me, knowing this work, doing this work, I have to get very sick to the point of like, I may not make it if I continue in this path before I go, I guess there's a tonight issue, I should find it. That's how resistant I am to my own emotions, even though I know it and live it. So, there's something that we got to kind of have compassion for, going, man, this is very strong programming. Heather.
You were asking us why it is that we weren't connecting our emotions with
the idea of illness,
our health and whatever. Yeah. As a child growing up, it was mostly total detachment from my emotions.
Yeah.
That was encouraged. And so that wasn't even like a factor. It wasn't even a thing. It wasn't in the picture. You don't even think about it.
No, you don't even think about it. So why do you think that is? Because now that you're in this path, most of you have felt your emotions and released your illnesses. Most of you know this, you've experienced it, you've lived it, you know it. So looking back, what do you think was going on for your parents that they taught you this?
Well, I'm just parroting what I've heard, not what I've actually come to feel.
Okay.
Which is that, they didn't want to, they denied their own emotions. So how could they let me experience mine? That didn't compute with their worldview of how things were supposed to look.
Yeah. Okay. So they have a worldview of how things are supposed to look. And so if I'm ill, something else is to blame. It cannot be something that came from me, especially if it involves emotions. So there's something about emotions and having to feel emotion. We have absorbed and inherited some very strong belief systems about it that we're going to have to investigate and release. We're going to have to confront how strong our beliefs are, that it cannot be about emotions, that we cannot be going into any kind of emotional investigation for a cause of illness. And growing up in Malaysia, I've been to shamans, I've been to all kind of weird practitioners because somebody out there, something out there, some spirit possessions, which could be true, are to blame. We could go everywhere. I've had all kind of psychic interventions and regular interventions and you name it, which was very cool to experience as a future doctor, who is now somewhat intuitive. Weird world. Laura, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess also too, like if our parents had, if they knew or understood that a lot of what was going on inside of us as kids was a result of them, then they would not want to in any way, shape or form acknowledge that, that that's even a thing. So there's a really strong sort of denial of responsibility, I suppose, like from the parent. So not wanting to see what they're creating. And so therefore there's a strong tendency to want to suppress our emotions and, and not make the connection between the two, because it would be very confronting as a parent.
It would be very confronting. Yeah. And some of us here are parents, and some of us parents have had and are having illnesses in our children. So it is very, very confronting. Yeah. Thank you. Casey?
Piggybacking on what Laura said, thinking about my family and generations of my family, it's very much the denial, and also I think the addiction to the quick fix.
addiction to the quick fix. I like that. Okay.
Medication, give me a needle, give me something. I just want the pain to stop.
I want the pain to stop.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Others? Observation about your family dynamics? So what drives our addiction to quick fix and I just want the pain to stop? What drives that? How do we learn that? Why do we do that? Laura?
I keep having this feeling come up as we're talking about all of this, of just this rage from my mum.
Okay.
And, you know, like it's a real hindrance that I'm sick. It's really annoying that she has to deal with me sick now.
Yes.
And so she, you know, get it over and done with, do what you need to do, take the medicine, whatever, like just shut up and go to school and leave me alone kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, I can really feel that strong rage.
Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely. I've definitely projected that in my children, that I'm a single parent, I'm working, I'm studying, and I don't have the capacity to cope with your illness. I remember feeling and projecting those for sure. Yeah. I don't know if they felt it as a rage or if they just felt it as a neediness. I don't know. Someday I'll have to ask them which version came out of me. Thank you, Laura. Michaela?
Just that we live in a society where you're supposed to contribute and you're supposed to achieve and work and make money and do all that stuff. So there's not time to be sick and to be not contributing.
Yes, there is no time for illness. So basically, we've learned the message that illness is an inconvenience and it's a burden. And it's something that you need to get over and get through as fast as possible so you can go back to living, when actually illnesses are a sign that you are not living because you are in denial of an emotional issue of truth of some kind, which is already contributing to a lot of unhappiness that we wish to continue denying. So, yeah, so when you start to take your illness seriously as an emotional process, a lot of people will be confronted, especially if you're getting sick because you're constantly meeting other people's addictions. How is that? So then you're burning out, you're breaking down, and then you're gonna which then is an issue of not loving yourself. So then you're gonna start setting boundaries, and obviously others don't want that you're not meeting their boundaries, their addictions. Like Michaela is saying, addiction for contribution. Give me what I want. I want consumer stuff. I want my convenience. I want my whatever. You're getting sick is an inconvenience, for sure. And Hardeep is saying, afraid of having the death of another person, say a child, on my hands by not acting. So for some of us, we will have the pressure of, if my child is sick, but I know it's an emotion, I feel fairly confident I can work through it, but it may look like I'm not taking action. So then I gotta go look like I'm doing the right things. It may look like, now I don't wanna encourage any kind of behaviors where some people are like a little too extreme in their belief. If a child is sick and need medical intervention because you need time to deal with your emotions, give the child a chance to recover. But for most of us, we feel this pressure to look like we're doing all the right things so that we don't get blamed. It's the blame you're afraid of feeling. So that's a different thing. Wow, okay, lots of good stuff came up today. So how can you see, how many of you have looked back at your life and go, the illness and that stop that it put in my life was the best thing that could happen to me? I'm glad that it kept nagging and persisting. How many of you felt that? Casey? Yeah. Who else? Kathy S., do you want to share some ideas? Oh, you mute.
Yeah, in my first marriage when things were very toxic,
Mm-hmm.
obviously my body took that on, and when it got to the point, you know, I was getting strep throat, I just really chronic illnesses, it made me sit up and think, you know, this relationship is, you know, this is a very heavy negative situation, and it propelled me to take action to dissolve it,
Okay.
to confront it, and it was tough.
And looking back, you obviously saying, I'm so glad I did that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I was putting up with so much garbage. It was, yeah, it was not good.
For me as well, I was 28, going 29, and I was getting sicker and sicker week by week, month by month. And I had a feeling like I am going to die if I don't do something. I'm so sick, I'm going to die. And I better do something, which was then end up leaving my marriage to save my life. It always takes that point before I do something, unfortunately. Someday, maybe we'll just have a little sniffle and go, oh, I'm out of line somewhere, I better take action fast. You know, I stub my toe and I take it seriously, going, something's off. But when we've been told to tough it out and to endure, that enduring pain and suffering is your sign of love for your family, then you numb out a lot of messaging in physical information. So it's quite damaging. Who else? Who still feel like the sickness was a curse? Selena? Selena was like, no, it wasn't a good thing for me. Okay. Anybody else that feel like it was, that sickness ended up being a good thing? Laura?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pinpoint any one thing because I've been so sick so often, like as a kid, and
yeah.
But one significant point I remember was when I wanted, like, because I used to smoke cigarettes, and I really wanted to. This is not long after I'd sort of gotten onto the Divine Truth train, and I wanted to give up, and then I started smoking heavily, you know, as I was sort of mentally preparing myself. And then I blew a hole in my lung again. This is the second time it's happened, but first time on that lung.
What do you mean by that? Like a collapse?
Just spontaneous pneumothorax. Yeah. So but this time I didn't, like, because I had surgery on the first one because I was, you know, I was scared then. I was listening to the doctors and that's what they recommended. And this time I sort of said, no, I don't want to. And, you know, they tried to feed me painkillers and I'm like, no, I want to feel the pain. And I just needed to feel safe when I was doing it. And what I realized was being in that environment wasn't safe because that's all they wanted to do was suppress my pain. And so I just, instead of getting surgery, I'm like, well, you know, I just thought about it logically and I recognized that cells take time to develop and, you know, if there's a hole there, it needs to collapse to fill the hole and blah, blah, blah. I was getting all this information. But also it was like good in the fact that it helped me to quit smoking because that was kind of like, oh, that's it. And all of the emotions came out because of, obviously, I stopped suppressing them by smoking.
Nice.
And so I was just grieving for ages. So that was probably the first time that I really felt like,
wow,
that it was a good thing.
And an obvious connection between the two.
Yeah. It was almost laughable because I, you know, just the way that it all happened.
Yeah.
I wanted some time out to be able to deal with my emotions and, you know, had to do all of that with the collapse lung. So
that's good point. Now, when you start to do emotional processing, sometimes you start to have more physical pain or illnesses because it's the body's way or the soul's way of saying, look over here, start at this door, start at this issue. If you suddenly start to go, you know, I'm wanting to deal with my emotions, but boy, breathing is getting harder nowadays. What is going on with me? I thought I was supposed to be doing better. I'm dealing with my emotions. No, that's your soul saying, start with your fear of grief. Start with your fear of feeling suffocated. Start there. So I always see any health issues. To me, it's a help, it's an assistant. It's not that you're missing something, but that it's a way of saying, this is the door, start here. So they're always very, very helpful. And any denied issue you start with, in my experience, it always start with the physical aspect, always start with some kind of illness or injury to start working through that particular layer all the way down. So I've seen in some Divine Truth communities that there's a judgment of like, well, I must be denying something. Look, I got sick. And I'm saying, no, you want to heal. That's why this started to happen for you. This is where it starts. It's just what it looks like. That's my perspective on it. And also, once you become comfortable with how to work through denied issue, how to work through your blocks, how to work through all of that, then you are in a position to choose, like I have many times chosen, I'm not going to take that medication. I do have other herbs. I am a doctor. I can watch myself to not take certain steps that technically you should take if you were not dealing with emotions. So over time, you develop the language for it. But when you're just starting out, don't do what Laura did. Don't heal your pneumothorax yourself. Figure out the steps first. Just don't be a fanatic. But where Laura was at, she's already had the language for it, the fluidity of dealing with it. Like I've had, bleeding kidneys, and I've had all kind of other weird stuff, but I could assess myself that, okay, I can give myself another 48 hours before I go and get an IV or something. Or if I need medicine, I can take something that's the least suppressive out of all of them, and many, many different variations we can choose to do while choosing to address the emotional cause. And some of us, when we start watching these videos, start to go, I'm not sure it's about the emotions. I don't want it to be the emotions. How sure are you it's about the emotions? So you may want to start to actually investigate. Start to talk to your guides, to talk to God, pray. Show me that it's about the emotions. Convince me. Do an experiment to decide for yourself. Yes, it was about the denial of the issue. So for me, I find you don't even have to have released the emotion. You just need to no longer deny that that's what's going on. That alone will already start creating changes in your health problems. And I'll go deeper into that next week. Grace, you raised your hand. We're talking about illnesses that were, in hindsight, helpful.
Oh, I don't know actually that I fully believe that, because I still have a very strong inherited belief that illness is a punishment for something
yes. Thank you.
that I did wrong.
Yes, that's right.
I struggle with actually like looking at the emotions, because I don't want to see that I'm a bad person or somehow I deserve what's happening to me, or I blame myself for it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got sick because I worked too much, or, whatever it might be. Yeah. So even though I know intellectually that, like, yes, obviously it's the emotion, yes. Sometimes it's hard to explore it.
It's true, Grace. For you, you go into, why am I being punished? I don't deserve this. What did I do wrong? There's this anger and hurt of punishment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really.
Definitely. How many of you have felt that? Why am I being punished? Isn't that something we do when we get a diagnosis? I did nothing wrong. Why am I being punished? What did I do to deserve it? Absolutely. And of course, I'm talking about the Western countries here. I'm not talking about countries, people who live in very terrible condition, who are experiencing oppression from other people. You get illnesses based on the oppression and the hardship done by others. I'm just talking about, the Western countries related illnesses here, affluent illnesses. Okay, so it's really good to continue investigating what belief system do I have about having to find emotional causes of illnesses. It's good to continue to dig up what those are, so that next time you get a little bit sick or very sick, and you don't jump up and down in joy because you get to discover a denied truth, that must be a block. It'd be good to find out what those blocks are, instead of saying, hey, I'm denying an issue of love and truth. Here's an opportunity for me to dig up another one. And some of the messages I got today to share was that we have the perfect physical system. We have a perfect system that heals itself, that replicates itself, that doesn't age, that doesn't die. That is what we were created to have. And it's all based on suppressed emotion, unless somebody kills you or knock you over with a truck. You know, that's gonna take you, that's gonna destroy your body. You can't maintain life anymore. That's outside. Wars. But outside of that, you can get so healthy that you can actually feel a virus entering your body, and you can tell your body, let's not do that. You can actually feel that you just ate something toxic, even poisonous, and you can tell your body, yeah, let's get this out. Let's not be affected. You can get that sensitive. Women can be so sensitive, they can decide to not ovulate until they want to. So no birth control needed. You are in control of your own rhythm. You're in control of your body. You get an illness, you can tell your body, please heal this quickly. Replicate this quickly. Like, this is the level of control that you are supposed to have over your own body. You don't age. This is something we're all supposed to have. So old age and death from old age is the body breaking down from the cost of the burden of the emotion destroying the organ system, because the emotions are in the soul, and when this emotion is suppressed, then the energy is no longer flowing. When the energy is no longer flowing to that particular area in the spirit body and the physical body, you get very specific corresponding illnesses. And a lot of the illnesses that I see as a doctor, including in myself, are based on addictions. So addictions are what we create in order to suppress fear and in order to suppress all the other emotions under it. There's always a lot of anger associated with addictions. And so for example, I have an addiction, I have a neediness to being loved. And people who have lung issues tend to be workaholics. They tend to go, well, I'll work hard and I will ignore my own health and my own system so that I can earn love. So now people will have lung problems because of their addiction for workaholic. So that's a compensation for addiction. That's a separate thing. Under it is that I have emotions of grief that I wasn't loved. That's a separate issue. That's going to create its own illness. So there are all these different tiers that I'm beginning to see as I grow. But most of the time, it's very hard to say and to hear, your health problem as an adult is based on an addiction or love compensation for an addiction. So you're receiving a compensation for engaging addictions, and you need to allow yourself to experience the compensation so that you can discharge what you've earned through your addictions while taking care of your body to go through it. And then you start to investigate, well, why do I have this addiction? Why am I paying such a high price for this addiction? What am I using it for? And another emotion that just destroyed the body is the emotion of fear. You didn't think you'd get away from me using that word ever in any workshops, ever. So fear, when I was trying to speak to Jesus in 2016 about this quotation, he knew what I was going to ask. So he didn't even let me ask. I didn't even get to say the words. He'd just say, look at fear. When it comes to illnesses, it's about the emotion of fear, period. Just one answer. So under every illness, somehow there's going to be the emotion of fear to process. Emotion of fear really debilitates the physical body, and it has to be processed and released. So that's the top few ideas we want to talk about. Next week, we're going to talk about how to work through the denial itself. How do you start working through what's the denial? How do you investigate? How do you get into identifying the cause for yourself, your children, your pets? That will be next week. So what are any feedbacks? Any feelings so far? Any comments? We're good, Laura?
I just think this is a really great topic to delve into because it's pretty real for so many people,
Yeah.
like myself included. And yeah, it's good to just finally have it as a little bit of a focus in my life. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, not that it hasn't been, but just, you know, it's a great reminder and good to talk about and hear other people's experiences. And because, you know, you've obviously helped and are working with a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
Really great to have you share your experiences with so I'm really grateful. Thank you.
And you, Laura, also have a passion for being a medical practitioner, so it definitely absolutely
and I'm starting to see it a lot more as well with people, like with clients coming in and you know, really developing that curiosity about what could be the cause and having the conversations and that kind of thing. So yeah, looking forward to the next one as well, which is
the healthcare ones. Quite a few of us practitioners will be there, and we can share the ways in which we try to crack through that ice. All the fears we have to, and the addictions we have to deal with as practitioners to be able to. Heather, go ahead.
One thing that all of us talking together has brought to the forefront for me is how we often have such different backgrounds and started from a different place. And so everybody might be in a different lane. I mean, there are some general lanes, but I think it was Kathy Clough that was saying how her family just grew up with, you know, doctors were bad and everything. So she was totally on this side. My family was totally on this side spectrum. Like, you have to use a doctor or else there's no hope for you. And just kind of getting more compassion for that everybody didn't start out in the same place. Everyone has a different way of looking at things, and to just be more compassionate when toward myself or toward a client that is looking at things differently than I am, and you know that I have to factor that in.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, other comments? Michaela, go ahead.
I'm just feeling really sad that I've had this particular pain for such a long time now, and I've never really just gone there emotionally, and so I've just carried it for so long. And you know, we're all carrying these things that we can actually heal ourselves, and it's really sad.
Yeah, I mean, we are choosing to die than feel the emotion, or even then to stop the denial of the issue. Never mind the emotion, that's way down somewhere. We rather die because that is what we're choosing. And when I was really sick, when I was like basically peeing blood because I was so sick from kidney infections, I basically had to say to myself, okay, listen, I'd rather die than feel this issue. I don't even want to know what it is. I'd rather die than do this. This is what I'm really doing. And I had to really be honest with myself going, this is what I'm choosing. I'd rather die than do this. And only once I said that out, then I knew what the issue was. And then I was so mad about it. It took me 8 months to get over how mad I was about the issue. But kidney infection cleared. Boom, done. Like within an hour, it was gone. Because I was no longer denying the issue. The issue is still being worked on now, and it's been 3 years. But just not denying it was enough. And then you get so angry at having to do it because that's the addictions being challenged. So right now, what we're all deciding in the world is I'd rather die than feel. I'd rather die of horrifying cancers and viruses and all the accidents and injuries than having to feel. And we're allowed to make that choice, and God is respecting our choices. But for most of us, we really don't know. However, you have to think about it. Think about it yourself. When you go, how come I found a practitioner that actually pointed out that this is about emotions? How come I didn't attract that practitioner before, but I did this time? What changed in me that now my law of attraction changed? Always there's a turning point in your life where you made some kind of a choice, some kind of a desire, a strong desire. And just like that, your law of attraction changed to bring the practitioner that would take you through the process, or at least introduce the concept. Selena.
what I found has happened to me pretty much my whole life, and it's only recently that I really recognized it, was I would finally cave and go and see a doctor,
Right.
rather than trying to do a natural thing or whatever. And even though I don't think once I followed through on the doctor's recommendation, but it always just coming out of that denial,
Yes.
I always found somebody else to help me
Yes.
every time. Like just recently with you, that's what happened. I went to a regular doctor to see if I should have a hip replacement. And then I just started talking to you. Like once I kind of broke down and, okay, this is, I'm not winning here. I'm not, whatever I'm not feeling. I need to do something. I can't keep living like this. And that made me, then I don't know, I just talked to you. I don't remember how it happened.
Yeah.
But it was because I talked to a specialist.
You took action.
I took some action, and it's just opened me up to a different attraction. You know, it's just amazing. And then I realized, oh, I've been doing this my whole life. You know, and never once have gone to maybe an extreme that an allopathic doctor might want to take.
Yeah.
You know, what I would think of as extreme in terms of remedying the situation. Yeah.
Well, for myself, I'm a doctor who have, you know, a drawer full of remedies and tinctures and supplements and textbooks and access to knowledge. And even myself, only once I'm no longer denying an issue, suddenly something will pop into my consciousness and I go, hey, wait a minute, I should take that remedy. How come I didn't think about it before? This is, so I, as a practitioner, something will only get highlighted once I've turned the corner on wanting to be real about the issue of truth. Yeah, absolutely. So your law of attraction will change as soon as you decide, okay, I am denying an emotion of truth and love. Fine, I accept. What's next? And then just saying that is enough. And or some of us with our parents, we start to have strong desire. You know, if my child's condition, if there's something I can do to help them, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. You will attract some kind of practitioner or video or documentary or something will happen, because God is just waiting to respect your decision of like, I don't want to feel, well, okay, in that case.
I find just the action of saying it out loud to somebody, I can't believe what that does for me. Just saying, finally going to doctors, saying it and dealing with whatever their response would be, which is usually not really maybe even what I want to hear or was hoping for, but it still takes me to the next place. That actually does help me. It's amazing.
I was in ER a month ago. I had to go back to emergency, and only at that emergency visit finally drop. And I go, oh, I know what I've been denying.
Yeah.
So
and Karen too, that really helped her.
Yeah.
She finally went, and it just things just started to turn around for her. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts on what you would like to cover next week? My choice is to start covering the topic of you're in denial of an issue. How do you go from there? That's what I want to talk about next week. Is that good? Okay. And as a homework for those who are here and those who will be watching the videos in the future, the homework will be make a list of what are your beliefs about illnesses and what are your beliefs about the medical system. Make a list of it so that you can start to investigate your own belief systems that you need to release emotionally so that they're no longer a block. Okay.
Could you repeat those, please?
Sure.
The two things.
One is, what are my belief systems about illnesses and even accidents and injuries? And what are my belief system about the medical systems, about doctors, about treatments? Do I have this feeling of somebody out there should know how to fix this, make this better, make this go away? Why do I have those feelings? And another homework would be, why am I hesitant to believe that I'm going to have to feel an emotion in order for this to resolve? Because you have those feelings, whether or not you believe the truth about this, you have those feelings of, oh, why does it always have to be an emotion? Gosh, we have those beliefs. So we need to pull them out and then be able to work through them. So that the next time you get a knife cut you jump up and down in joy, going, yippee, truth. I know something. Instead of, "Grr." I'm in denial. That's not what I am. All right, this has been very pleasurable. Thank you so much for being a part of it and creating a resource for other people in the future. It's good work.
Thanks, Mila.
Okay. See you
Thank
guys
you.
next week.
Thanks, Dharm. Thanks,
See you
everyone.
next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much. Great. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Dharm. Mila.